24. And the jingle you just heard now, the promo that you just heard now, you might probably be wondering, that's the program we're about to start. Well, that's not correct actually. This is the melting point. Arise Akwa Ibom is starting tomorrow, and it's Wednesday and Friday, just as you heard on the promo. Every Wednesday and Friday will be Arise Akwa Ibom, just in place of the melting point. But today we're on the melting point, so at that point, we'll have to say welcome to the melting point of Memories and 6.5 FM. My name is SHARON MANDOR.
Thanks for joining us on Melting Point today. I am Enquiry.
Alright, so today we're diving into recent developments in Akwa Ibom State under the leadership of Governor Umoeno. Over the past 6 months, the governor has introduced a series of impactful initiatives showing a strong commitment to improving the welfare of state employees, strengthening local governance and driving economic growth. One standout measure is the increase in the minimum wage for state government employees to 80,000 naira, a significant move that not only surpasses the federal minimum wage but also aims to improve the livelihoods of workers across Akwa Ibom State. Governor Eno's administration has also directed council chairpersons to live and work within their local areas, fostering closer connections between government leaders and the communities they serve. And on the economic front, the governor's Arise agenda outlines plans to boost agriculture, increase local production, and diversify the state's economy, and to address broader social concerns. There are also plans to build a new correctional facility that meets global standards. But as we explore these developments, questions arise. Can the state financially sustain this wage increase over time? Will the mandate for council chairpersons to work from their local government areas bring real improvement in local governance? And how will Akwa Ibom balance this ambitious project with the need for fiscal responsibility? Today we're being joined in the studio by a media practitioner, the CEO of Food Ambassador. His name is Ambassador Samson Akpan, aka Politics Today. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
It's good to be here.
Welcome.
Yeah, nice to have you, Mr. Politics Today.
I've not seen you for a while. Seriously, when I meet you, meeting you this morning has been a delight moment. I'm so delighted to be with you, and of course, see this other side of the show. And memories, this is my first time here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, welcome. Yeah, it's human content, and it's nice to have you with us on Memories 96.5 FM.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the minimum wage of 80,000 naira. How do you think that the governor is planning to sustain this financially, especially if the federal support fluctuates?
I don't know, but you see, Governor Umoeno, His Excellency Pastor, came into government prepared. And as you can see, the numerous achievement of his administration is just less than 2 years. It goes to show his capacity and his readiness to, aside federal allocation, and he also talked about internally generated revenue, and he has created a lot of SMEs, and people are paying tax. So that's one of the sustainable aspects of revenue generation to the state, because for instance, I'm running an eatery, and so I pay tax. All right, so some of the person will be doing one or two stuff and will be paying tax, and so the IGR will definitely increase. And so aside the revenue, don't forget that some of the IOCs also pay their tax heavily. Last I checked, we were running almost to 5 billion, in terms of internally generated revenue. So if you also add up with what we get from the federal government, which of course in a normal federation, we're not supposed to be going cap in hand for federal allocation. We're supposed to pay tax to the federal government. We're supposed to give what is due federal government, and then keep the rest. If that has been done, or if that is being practiced in Nigeria, I think Akwa Ibom State will stand a better chance to even pay a 200,000 naira minimum wage.
All right, impressive.
Oh, that's great. Would like to know what has been the recipe of the government in handling social situations such as the protests recently, we experienced in Nigeria, and he so conducted the peaceful. It was quite peaceful in Akwa Ibom State. What has been the secret?
When you have a father who tells you that by Monday you go back to school and you get your school fees, there's every possibility that you definitely have that hope, build that hope. But if by Monday you don't get your school fees, there's no how you will believe him some other time. There's every possibility that you will want to steal or pickpocket before going back to school, to make ends meet on campus. Governor Umoino has been so exemplary. He has lived beyond the barriers of a normal politician. Sometimes when I was campaigning for him, I told a lot of people that the day I went to one of his outlets to lodge, he personally came out to serve guests. That background of humility, that background of divine influence upon his life is what has triggered his fatherly attitude towards the people of Akwa Ibom State. And so when he told the youth, come, never you join the ranks of other youth who are aggrieved to protest against bad government or bad governance. The youth needed to believe him because they have seen him in time past, and his word has always been his bond. And so in doing that, when the youth also obeyed, he reciprocated that gesture by making sure that he rewarded them and provided youth with a platform that they cannot forget in a hurry. You see, aside that being done, he went a step further to create an employment portal, which has never been done before. I don't know any state. I think Edo State tried to do something like that, maybe with Edo Best and all that stuff, but Akwa Ibom State is so unique that you now have a portal for those who are seeking for a job opportunity. So far, last I checked, I think yesterday, we have about 6,000 successful registrants. And so what does that portend? That shows that he came prepared and he has given a channel for a new paradigm. By that, the recipe of his government has turned around. Who perhaps would have said, I am not for Umoino. In fact, those who said they are not for Umoino during the election are now for Umoino. In fact, those who were for Umoino are now wondering, where's going to be my space? It's just like when you get to the Bible, the story of Jesus Christ, that those who rejected Jesus Christ, even from his household, are the ones who are using the pictures, the photograph of actors now living in the church. The actor, the man who acted Jesus Christ of Nazareth, his picture has become so popular, even in the Catholic or Apostolic or Church A or Church B, if you don't mind me if I mention their names, but these are all popular churches. I want to draw home, and a point for us to understand what it is. Those who rejected Umoino when he was campaigning are those who are in the front row of his government. So what does that tell you? That tells you that he has been able to put up a capacity that brings everybody together, irrespective of your political party. And that's what a leadership, true leadership, should be. He has cut across boundaries of politics, and of course today you can see a peaceful disposition, a peaceful ambience in Akwa Ibom State politics. And so you see everybody talking about Umoino, even at the national level. So that's the story. And so what has given the youth the hope, the opportunity, is his government's ability to provide for them a recipe of good governance.
Okay, let me pick up from where you dropped off, and I'm talking about the employment portal. Some Akwa Ibomites have said that portal kind of favors the rich and not the poorest of the poor, the vulnerable, the people that actually have the certificate and the skill set, but might not have a way to register on the portal. That's one. And people are also asking, why does the government need the NIN and the voters card at the same time instead of just one identification or means of identification?
You see, sometimes I laughed over, it's laughable most times when you see people you see a lot of people spending a little data to showcase themselves on Facebook, but very difficult to buy Panadol with the same money they have used in buying data, so we don't have self-love. If you are talking about being for the rich, what is it for the rich? Is it because you don't have an Android phone? The cyber cafe is there. You go to cyber cafe to check your JAMB result, your WIAC result, and so on and so forth. The same thing there. You talked about the NIN and the VIN. Voters identity verification is very important because one, it will boil down to your worth and your unit, where you come from. Don't forget that this identification is meant to really ascertain that you're from Akwa Ibom, and of course that you are a Nigerian and from Akwa Ibom. So if your national identity number is also to say that you are a Nigerian.
But we still have the certificate of origin.
The certificate of origin is to locate you, your local government, that you are a participant. Why do we go to school? You go to school without that certificate. Why do they ask for a certificate? You've told somebody that I've been to the university, I've been to secondary school, I've been to primary school. They want to see that evidence. For instance, I'm from Etinan. So if I just come and tell Sharon I'm from Etinan, you won't take it like that. You say, where's your certificate of origin to prove that you're from Etinan? It's simple and straight up. Bring in your certificate of origin, bring in your verification number, bring in your NIN. That is to ascertain that you're not somebody from Cameroon coming to take job from us.
All right.
All right. Akwa Ibom State has been listed as one of the flood-prone areas by NIMET, and I do not know how far the state governments are in place to, cushion the effect of to handle the situation. I'm talking about flooding in Akwa Ibom State, especially as it concerns the coastal areas and the development of the marine transportation.
You need to step out, Williams. You need to step out to see the enormous drainage job being done by this government. Like I said before, the governor is well prepared. If you get to Calabar Road, you get to Nelson Mandela angle where the flood used to be so heavy, job is ongoing. You get to Uyo Village Road, job is ongoing. And some of these job, that's why you see most times the World Bank do come in. Recalled even during the last administration, the major flood-prone area was the Secretariat and the IBB. So the state government then went into partnership with the World Bank and they get that area effectively controlled. And don't forget that we have the largest flood tunnel in Akwa Ibom State, constructed by the state government and the World Bank. And so that collaboration has really paid off. So those who perhaps came up with that report did not come to fact check the new improved Akwa Ibom in terms of erosion control system. That has really paid off. And even at that, the state government is not resting. And the governor is working on it. I'm saying this because as a media person and somebody who has been promoting and projecting government programs, I can say this with full assurance and authority that Akwa Ibom State is not at danger.
Interesting. Okay, so recently he mentioned the petrol tank farms, which was laudable.
Yeah.
But then here's another question: are there plans, or are you aware of any plans to transition into the CNG, just as the national level is planning?
I think everybody should be working towards that CNG. But you see, I don't want to marry local state government, even though the state government have a very robust relationship with the center because of the person of Pastor Moena. He doesn't want to play politics after politics, you know what I'm talking about. But honestly, most of the plans of the federal government seems to be taunted because of sometimes lack of sincerity and the part of those who are going to execute this. responsibility. The president might mean well for the people of Nigeria, but who are those executing this program? So sometimes you get stuck, so governor is not waiting for that. Governor also has his own plan, like when he talked about the town farm, it was meant to cushion the scarcity of petroleum products. And for him also, the CMG program, I may not really understand for now what the state government is planning, because I don't want to speak over what I don't know of. What I am telling you that in this state, during the last administration, there was an intention, even a license given for medulla refineries. But again, politics set in. And so it's just that with the cooperation of the Senate President and the state government, I think a whole lot will be achieved in that direction if we are to talk about the federal government collaborating with the state government for a meaningful and a purposeful leadership in the state.
I like that you brought that in, because today on one of the programs earlier this morning, we had discussions about how the northern governors came out to reject certain tax reform bills that were sent to the National Assembly by the president. And so callers called in to talk about how southern governors or south governors are not speaking up about the fact that we need a refinery, especially because the Senate president is from the south and Akwa Ibom State also. Do you foresee any plans for that?
You see, most times when it comes to issues like these, I think southern governors are observing terrible manners because they're the one that produce the precedent. So you cannot just shoot yourself on the foot. That's what is happening. Did you see the northern governors coming out to protest when Buhari was the president? Did they come out? Is there any story like that? Nothing. Nigeria is just sometimes a theater of comedy. Because if it is not for you, you think it is against you. Whereas if we can work as a federation, we'll be able to achieve a whole lot. Northern governors coming in to talk about some of the programs of the president is, for me, I'll be looking at anti-unity of this country. Because when it gets to election time like this, and people are beginning to, political permutation is coming up. They'll come up with one problem or the other in order to, truncate certain things that would have been of great benefit and immense opportunity for the Nigerian public. Are they fighting for the poor? The poorest of the poor is very prominent in the north. Yet the northerners have produced so many precedents, from the military to the civil rule. If I want to go debt back, it's just like when you said Akwa Ibom and Katsina State were created the same moment, the same year. Katsina has produced about 3 precedents. Yaradua and of course Buhari, 2 of them. Whereas in Akwa Ibom we haven't produced any at that level. But check out the development in Akwa Ibom State. And so sometimes when people talk about political party, I said it's not about the name of the party. It has to do with the individuals that make up the political party. You hear somebody saying, come and join the national party because they are known at the center. And they want you to join so that they can bring governance to the people. It's a lie, it's a fallacy. You can be... Okay, what of when the present president was the governor of Lagos State and he created additional local government and he went to court and challenged the then president, Obasanjo, and won the case. So the problem known is who is at the center to be seen in the state, in other states of the federation, or is operating a favorable government. When I say government of favoritism, where I come from, my people, it has to be my people, it has to be my people. It has to be my wife, it has to be my children, it has to be my cousin, it has to be my nephew. That's the biggest bane of democracy in Africa and Nigeria in particular. So I pray that someday we'll begin to think differently and understand that everyone is involved in this Nigerian program. Everybody. This should be a Nigerian project. All right. If a commissioner or a minister is coming from this some other person should come from this other area in order to balance it. And when that is not done, it becomes a very big problem.
Okay.
All right, let's know if you're just joining us. You're on Melting Point on Memories 96.5 FM, and we have Politics Today as our guest. All right, let's look at the RISE agenda. Initially, the real estate development has not been was not part of that agenda. Are you saying the government taking too much in its kitty to handle?
When you prepare a list of items to buy in the market, you can never be found wanting. Governor Umoino, aside the unveiling of the RISE agenda itself, he brought in a series of technocrats to tinker the agenda, and then they came up with a solution and give him a pass mark that this is one of the programs of government, a blueprint of government that will see the light of the day. Williams, if you're aware, that a few days ago at Enquiry, a 69-year-old poor woman celebrated the governor for a RISE compassionate home. Where have you heard that? Where have you seen that before? I recall in this country, a governor of a certain state, very close to Akwa Ibom, went to Bakassi and was shedding tears, yet could not provide home to those homeless people from Bakassi. So if Governor Umoino is matching word with action, he should be applauded. It's not about being sycophantic, it should be applauded. Because it's not easy to sit in that place. A lot of people will to be a governor is not easy. You don't sleep at your time and you don't work at your time. And so it's not Apani Semen, my late Apani Semen, so God bless his soul, from Etinan, he said that when you enter the government house, the right side of your ear is shut because you only be hearing what you're being told. You're not given opportunity to listen. But you know what Governor Umoino has done differently? He walks on the streets of Akwa Ibom State. He interacts with rural dwellers, street hawkers, and is able to gather information for the betterment of every Akwa Ibom person. And so this is not a government of Imbeleke. This is a government of Abeg everybody. This is a government that is concerning everybody. Where have you heard a job portal is being created for every citizen? It doesn't have to do with political party. When Sharon was asking me why the NIN, the VIN, and the rest, she never said why the political party. So that goes to show that we've all gone past politics. This is governance. And Umoino has showcased a practical example of governance. And have you seen him quarreling with his former predecessor? Have you seen it? It's not like that in every other state. Even a neighboring state here in River State. It's becoming so ungovernable. So you see, God has blessed Akwa Ibom State that each time we always have leaders. I call it dispensation of leadership. We had Obongota, who came at the time we needed a foundation. And he created memories of good leadership. And then inherited by Senator Godswill Akpabio, who came on the heels of infrastructural transformation. And that gave us yet another opportunity to step up. Udom Emmanuel came on the foundation of reawakening the spirit of enterprise. And today you can talk about Ibom Air, which is owned by the state government. You can talk about the flour mill, the King's Flour Mill, owned by the state government. And every other